Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Well, we're jumping in.
This is Dan Harmon. I single-handedly created all of Rick and Morty.
This is Justin Roiland. I'm the biggest cheerleader.
Tom Kauffman, just a writer.
Ryan Ridley, friend of the show.
I really love this episode. It's one of my favorites of the season, if not the.
Yeah, this is a really fun one.
Love the spirit of it.
I love the origin story of it, which was Justin had pre-recorded the song before we ever wrote anything for this episode.
I swear to God, Daniel was there. He can attest to this. Like we had to do a bunch of songs for that point and click game. And there was just shitty canned music, and I did one take each song. I was like, just fucking, here it is, whatever. And then then we somehow they found their way into the writer's room.
Yeah, it's just fantastic.
I was a fan of the EP.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, which included, it was Get Schwifty. What's the other song that's in this episode? The Pitbull, Mr. Bulldop.
Yeah,
sort of. Anyways,
yeah.
And then when I was writing the opening of the autoerotic assimilation, I didn't know what to write, and I was like, well, how about just listening to another one of those songs?
Yeah, all those songs are great. That's why I'm proud. That's one of the three reasons I'm proud of this episode. There's that it starts from a place of joy, and we didn't re-break the episode 1,000 times. The other thing is that we actually cleverly broadened the Rick and Morty universe, which is famous for being unlimited. We broadened it by deepening it on Earth, doing something that Doctor Who did in the 80s, which is introduce this, like, lieutenant character who would call Doctor Who from time to time. Doctor Who could be just off fighting Daleks and Gugas and things, and like then every 8th episode, just some British dude that worked for the military would call Doctor Who back to Earth and go like, "We need your help fighting the Loch Ness monster." And that's what I think of as this president character.
We got Kurtwood
Smith.
Doing
That
the
70s
general.
show.
and
RoboCop. Ooh, I think Dan got a picture with him. Right, Dan? You have sort of a no getting a picture with the guest policy, but every now and then you gotta break it.
Yeah, I mean, and also the same with
Keith David.
yes, Keith David.
Keith David's fucking amazing. This is like so good.
He's this voice that like you can't shake. Like it's such a good story tool.
He played 2 characters this season, even though his voice is so specific.
You all know me. I'm reverse giraffe. I've got a short neck and long legs. Long body.
I don't know why we were talking to other commentators about, we got to make sure we come up with, they've got range, so they'll do a different voice. It's like, what? No, Keith David can be the same voice for both
that's
reverse
what's funny.
giraffe and the
like,
president.
In cartoons, it's like you get all worried about, is this going to sound too much like the other thing? And then ultimately, no one ever cares.
Yeah, everything in South Park sounds the same.
Yeah.
It's part of its charm.
Also, Get Schwifty isn't in Rick's voice necessarily.
No, I mean, those were never, I wasn't doing any of those songs thinking that it was Rick or Morty. Like, I was just doing different. But we were just like, fuck it, like, it's close enough.
Yeah, remember asking if you're going to re-record, and you're like, nah.
Well, I tried, and then it was just like something
Lost,
got. Yeah, it was like, no, we can't. Like, it has to. It felt like a copy of a copy. Like it wasn't the same.
You had to be there.
Because like Morty's like, like he goes, I'm not doing Morty's voice. It's like a loud like, oh yeah. But it's like that's Morty though. Like in the episode, it's him. It's lip sync to him. Like his mouth.
This is Bill Holmes, right? Remember we were
this is
talking
Bill
in another
again,
episode commentary, which I think will come chronologically later. But this is the guy we cast just kind of randomly. I don't think he has done a lot of voice work.
I think it's this guy and you mean just in general, career wise?
Yeah, Bill Holmes.
This scene is us trying to do The Simpsons a little bit, and we're always at our best when we're just doing our thing. Like I remember laboring over this scene, like every setup and punchline.
Yeah, we had never gone anywhere near a church or anything.
Yeah, and why is this church guy not Reverend? What's his name?
Lovejoy.
Yeah. Like, what's different about him? It's sort of like sometimes you got to just avoid Simpsons Avenue. Like, yeah, we have a town, but
Yeah. Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out because it's like there's the bumpers of the South Park, Futurama, and The Simpsons, and we're like that operation game of not buzzing those sides.
well, that's why. Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, that's sci-fi, not pop culture, particularly not social satire.
That's one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah.
The guy just
EY.
continues.
Jamie with an EY.
Jamie the Jump Master. Or I'm the Jump Master. Jamie, spelled with an EY.
Yeah, this didn't need so much labor. I feel work. I feel sweat when I watch these scenes intercutting because I remember like I was like sweating to like intercut them right, and like how to make the rules like who's seeing what when and. Like,
A lot of this episode is that though. Like a lot of this episode is the ballet of like cutting around between
keep
the two
that
stories.
A story separate from that B story. You gotta keep that B story separate from that A story.
Oh yeah, you gotta do that.
Well, when your A story is intertwined with B, you
is
know
so
you're
good.
not cutting two stories together, but three. One is the A and one is the B, and the third one is the AB.
Do you remember like the very end of this episode in the either animatic edit or dialogue radio play edit? We had like the fucking dry erase board like broken out with note cards for how to fucking stack all of that shit.
these intercutting scenes?
At the very end, when the heads say something and it affects, and they're about to like cut Jerry and Beth away, it was like it was so complicated, like how to stack all that stuff. And I remember like spending half a day just trying to figure out. And I can't remember if it was radio play or animatic. I don't.
It was
remember.
radio. I remember you coming into the radio play and reordering things and troubleshooting at that stage.
There's a lot of great moments that in this episode, and very few of them come from the work.
Yeah.
You know, like the stuff that makes you really happy about this episode is stuff that was easy. And I don't know what to take away from that.
I can't believe that Get Schwifty became like I always see like
So many covers.
Some band covered it and like it became took on a life of its own, just the name of the song.
Yeah.
Justin had an idea like since season 1 about I think you always wanted like a kind of like a what was your idea that this was based on? Was it like what was the kernel of it? Was that you wanted a head to come and like put them on a reality show, or what was the element?
I don't know. I don't remember that. Like I remember we.
Because I remember it would always end with, it would always stop because we would go, oh, South Park did it.
Okay.
With the show becomes a reality show.
It was the concept of like them. It was a totally different idea. It was like the cold open was everybody around the dining table eating, and then like there's a fly, and Jerry smacks it with his hand, and it cuts him, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then Rick's like, "Give me that," and he zooms into it, and it's a little camera, and he's like, "Oh fuck."
And they find out that they're in a reality show
Yeah.
from another planet, but then apparently South Park had done that.
Yeah.
But then there was also the original song concept.
Yeah, we wanted to do. We had been kicking around the idea of doing like a musical.
And so I think we combined that and said, well, South Park didn't do American Idol.
Yeah.
Do you think the guy or the woman, I don't know who did it, but the person who made those loops that you recorded Get Schwifty over has heard this and been like, I
Yeah,
wrote
I don't know.
Get Schwifty
It was all
technically.
part of a sound library.
But somebody wrote
was-
that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of badass.
Yes, it's so true. I
I
wonder.
love this is one of my favorite
Hey,
parts
that's
coming
my
up is
fucking
these
song.
guys, because I remember giving the note of like, yeah, let's hang out with these guys, this next band. It's like, and it's like I just want to hear like fun
Another
alien
measure.
music.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a cut of this with my ex-wife Erin McGathy, and like at that point, she just started giggling. She was like, "Aw!" like that, their little song. I was like, "Yeah, that's the effect I wanted." Like they're like you could just hang out with them the whole episode. That's Ice-T.
Yeah,
as a
and we're
character, and
big
then I'm
fans.
doing him.
Yeah.
I love. He commented on Twitter and he was like, "These motherfucking animators got to be on drugs," or something like that.
Look, because somebody tweeted at him and said, "Man, Rick and Morty just
Skewered you.
No.
No.
The person said like Rick and Morty just honored the shit out of you or something like that, the equivalent of that. And then he said like, yeah, his response was, yeah, that's what happens when the animators be doing a lot of drugs. And it's like really dismissive.
I've seen enough. These guys are one-hit wonders.
And what's your plan, General?
We still have the nuclear option. On my word, we can launch a missile at every one of those heads in the sky.
Our planet's held captive on a live game show, and your solution is to shoot the audience? You can put your faith in nukes if we get through this, General. Until then, I'll put mine in Rick and Morty. Get Schwifty with a jam.
Hello? Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. He says he's...
It's worth noting that there are people who work on the show who thought that Ice-T did that voice, and it wasn't you.
There's an acceptable TV sketch that Dan just straight up played Ice-T. Not even, I mean, he's physically walking around saying he's Ice-T and doing the voice, but looks nothing like Ice-T.
Wait, what? What one is that? Okay, whatever. Okay,
It's 2003.
yeah.
If you watch the movie Trespass with Sadler, Paxton, Ice Cube,
classic.
and Ice-T is in it as well. It's basically an attempt at a retelling of the Treasure of Sierra Madre, but I'm obviously getting a little drunk. But Ice-T in that movie says it's not personal, it's business. Like it feels like 9 times he says it.
That's Justin as the thief. The animators.
I never liked to
and
be.
that's Dan Guterman.
It feels
one of the
weird to
writers,
be
as the movie
portrayed
talker.
in the background of a cartoon that you co-created. It feels like so, but then it also feels weird to go and tell the design team like, hey guys, don't.
Why didn't they just make it 3 for 3 though? That's a weird thing.
I don't
They had
know.
Three
I don't
characters,
know.
and they just based 2 of them off real people.
Yeah, it's like why not go for a
Yeah.
Ridley or somebody at the.
Well,
I don't think
mean,
it
the
would
woman
betray the
was
show to let you know that this was a really hard story to write. I remember a detour about this was that we were trying to figure out a version where it was really built around Rick revealing that he had unresolved creative
Oh
ambitions.
yeah, that's right.
And it was the first of 2 times. The second time was in season 3, breaking another very specific story, that we had gone down this road where we made up our mind that we would reveal that Rick had this hidden insecurity, and it always falls apart. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if Rick's like the Fonz and like God is protecting the character, like where it's like don't jump the shark, like don't slowly reveal that Rick loves lasagna and that he hates Mondays, and but that the reason he hates Mondays is because he secretly loves Mondays.
He has an owner
It's the
named
whole
John.
Indiana Jones thing where we see in The Last Crusade how he got all those specific things. It's cooler just to...
Ridley line
What line?
right here.
Oh, yeah.
in the background.
I nailed it.
Good work, Ridley.
Thanks.
Spencer Grammer had a lot to do in this episode. I think she really nailed it.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, it was a really fun, touching story that we landed on. I don't know if it was kind of like it's almost like we came up with a good, proper story because we had to. Like we shaped our story into a proper story shape because that's what we needed. Boy, I'm
Kind of funny to think. Well, how could we have done how can you separate the A story and the B story in this episode? Because the people have to acknowledge what's going on. I guess maybe that would have been funny if it was just a story that had nothing to do with the heads, but.
I love that
they
they're
reference the heads
separate.
every now
They're
and then.
separate in the sense that there's no crosstalk between the characters.
Well, that's
but
when we got that's when we started to make ground. I wish we had come up with that solution earlier, which is that no, these stories don't have to be connected because one of the stories is a sort of sci-fi Black Mirror kind of episode about what if God appeared in the sky.
Yes, yeah.
How would that affect your relationship with your adolescent daughter? I just think we landed on it a little late because the resolve of it is just them going like, we love our daughter and she's not our daughter. But the hilarious thing is that cut to then them, hoisted on the balloons and Jerry saying, "Listen to me, I have a paper clip in my mouth and it's starting to hurt." That's all great. It's just that the story itself isn't like it's never gonna touch the abortion story from the first cable. It's like you're not really
Super
fooling
grounded.
anybody into caring that much.
By the way, still don't understand why he's not a T shape.
yeah,
He sticks out his arms.
I love that he's not a T.
it's so fucking funny. He's like a giant.
But
dark
even at the
crystal
end of the
shard.
episode, you see that his other people
His
are
water
shaped
shape.
Well,
like.
he was a water T,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
he got turned into ice. I don't know. I love it.
Well, if anything, it reinforces the backstory. It's like,
It's a punishment, so he shouldn't be a T anymore.
Yeah,
Iced tea.
he lost his identity because he rejected his aquatic nature.
By the way, this was another Wes Archer directed episode. I remember, like, it just always super clean staging, just really good.
Well, he directed a lot of the biggest episodes from the early Simpsons
I
seasons.
know. Yeah, he's a pro.
Take a time machine back and tell my 20-year-old self that I wrote a scene where Kurtwood Smith from RoboCop and Keith David from They Live are like doing a scene together. And, it kind of doesn't sink in ever.
At my house? Is your intention to abandon
Oh, and then I'm in it
Back,
too.
baby.
And then moments after that, it's
This is a fantastic reintroduction to Tammy. I love that touch of continuity.
Yeah. That all plays out in the finale.
in Bird Person's little home.
Humans eat.
You know what this human eats.
Don't be gross.
Gee, I wonder what she said there.
Yeah, the continuity that she's still
bird dick.
disgusting.
Bird dick.
I love it that she's like the saucy one and he's just kind of ever conservative.
Yeah, and sort of lets it roll off too. He's like, "Don't be gross, Tammy."
Imagine the dinners with his family that she must, what she must say in those. All right, that's.
It makes me sad that she's the bad guy.
No, I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, but
because
she doesn't
she's
have
such an
to be.
interesting character.
Yeah.
So she's like a Mad Magazine like background character whose first line is I like bukkake, but I don't know if I'd ever try it. And then she's just so forward.
Yeah.
And that she would then be reduced to she's a shapeshifter, she's a traitor.
Yeah.
Instead of no, there's a girl like that out there.
Yeah.
And she just loves Bird Person. Like that is a bummer.
Yeah, we're working on a story where I was like, oh, Tammy would be perfect for this, but she can't be because she's a narc who is out in God knows where.
Well, what if we just bring her back and
She's
all
like,
is
I just want to be
forgiven?
a high school kid
Yeah.
again.
The Federation fell, or maybe it didn't. I don't know. We haven't decided.
Or even easier, we just introduce a new high school girl and cast Cassie Steele as the voice, and there you go. Done and done.
The key is it has to be our daughter, not this person.
Cassie Steele from Degrassi, in case anyone doesn't know that. Manny Santos. She was the voice of Tammy.
If Justin's 7-year-old self.
No, I know.
Well,
Actually, I didn't get into Degrassi until like 2006.
Yeah, I know. It's like more like if Justin's 32-year-old self.
Well, I'm not that old. Jesus.
And those of you that have never gotten a Manny Santos from, there's a place in Koreatown.
Yeah, they're really cheap there.
It's technically legal if they put a thimble on.
Yeah. Step right up and get your Manny Santos here.
A nice Manny Santos.
We've got Manny Santos.
$75 in Thailand.
I got a reverse Manny Santos.
Oh, man,
see,
those are great.
I'm not ready for the full.
Yeah, the full regular.
Yeah.
It's like one of those like dirty trombone or whatever, right? That's what we're going for.
I don't know, man, but certainly saying that demystifies it a little
Man,
bit.
last night I pulled a Manny Santos.
I'm really proud of this. Isn't this where you guys like, can you fly a Black Hawk helicopter? Can the Pope's dick fit through a donut? And Morty's like, I'm not sure. Maybe. Exactly. It's like the perfect.
But I love how it's still like a 50-50 thing. with
Yeah,
the
exactly.
He would know if you can fly a Black Hawk helicopter.
No, he's not sure.
Yeah, he's not sure. Yeah,
he's
no,
the
he's
president.
sweating.
He thinks he has
He's like,
powers?
Yeah, he's like, no, there's a lot of buttons.
Yeah, he literally says right here.
That's what I love about him. He gave the precise answer. It's like there's no bare shits in the woods for situations where it's like I don't know, kinda. I flew a Huey in Nam.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize the backstory is he flew something.
Can the
Yeah, he clearly flew
Pope's
something.
dick
Okay.
fit through a donut? It's like you really don't.
You know what? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Depends on the Pope. Depends on the donut. And,
yeah.
and he's like, yeah, exactly. Let's get in the helicopter.
This is the section I was talking about where we had 10 different ways to stack all this shit.
Oh yeah, God damn, this braiding, this intercutting, like it really
It was
drove
so
me nuts.
complicated, but once we figured it out, it was it worked. But it was
It
like,
all
yeah.
seems so-
We added that in last minute. It was like, if the nukes are going to blow them up, like, doesn't that pose a problem? It's like, oh, well, what if they just don't?
Yeah, let's just show that they don't.
Yeah.
Problem
Because
solved.
why would that guy be right?
Yeah, exactly.
Disqualified!
And then he comes running with a gun.
But I think this is genuinely a satisfying twist because you feel like they're about to get blown up.
He cares now.
I think that was one of the notes we got from the rare notes we got from Lazo was, I don't remember, but making it feel a little more like we had to add a line for Ice-T to say.
Yeah. Well, it was in there. It just got lifted. I care now.
Where do you think Ice-T went to care now?
Well, see, he cared.
How far away did he get from Earth?
Well, he thought about it after he left. But he's like a community character. He had stormed out, and then he
He's like Han Solo in Star Wars.
But I regret he should have been destroyed, and then because we wanted to start the tag with him returning as like vapor to his planet and raining down and like turning back into water.
This was another song, right?
This is another one of those songs.
Oh my God. And to see Keith David, who's such an intimidating guy, to like to bring into a VO booth and like ask for more takes.
You directed him on this.
But then we were like, he loves to sing, and so it's like he heard this thing in his headphones, and he's like, okay, all right, raise the posterior. Like he'd never asked a single question. He's like, I got it. Head bent over.
I mean, Justin. I mean, does that like what Dan was saying about his 10-year-old self? Like the fact that you riff some nonsense,
surreal.
and then Keith
surreal.
David, the guy from 1,000 iconic movies. Performing
it like Harmon said, it'll never sink in sufficiently enough.
Juilliard trained.
He's in Platoon. He's in,
the snake.
Requiem for a Dream.
The snake. This is one of my favorite things about this episode. The snake watch.
Yeah, I'm very proud of us. Like, as a room, I'm not saying it was a collective. Like we as a team, like just had a fucking gas. That concept, Rick can just disintegrate people, but he knows it's scarier to turn them into snakes.
But he doesn't have like an instant snake transformer thing. So
it's too much work. Yeah. So and then he's like, my favorite part is the snake slithers past. God, I got so drunk. The army kid going.
Yeah.
He let the brief moment of him admiring the snake.
President, whatever, will be back.
What is the president? It's just Mr. President.
Yeah, I don't
think we named him.
So here's some more backstory.
This is fucking great.
This is a great first line. I didn't write this. When he comes in, goes like, whatever, magnesium J, so F, father.
I think Ridley, you wrote that, right?
Yeah, we wrote this tag. I think this is when you were back at Community, but just the fun of, what would this look like? And also inspired by all those movies. I think Buckaroo Banzai in the Fifth Dimension, saying like Buckaroo Banzai will be back in.
Mac and me did it too.
And also the movie Class Act. They're like Frim and Dubins will be back and Palm Springs Break, and it's like you won't be back.
I love the confidence of like they're like we made a hit.
But I just love that there's like a whole Game of Thrones. This could be someone could write a novel of the like the Tales from Jabba's Palace.
Spin-off. All right, keep watching and keep doing your homework.
We love our show. Did you get any of that?
It's a good show.